Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whenever the fuck you're listening to this. We are two guys talking shit, and welcome to episode 4. We are currently broadcasting live from Johnny Manziel's Coke Den. What? Oh, sorry, his bathroom. All right, so big weekend, big week in sports. We finished up with the Final Four and the NCAA tournament. Want to give a big shout out and congratulations to Zach Johnson, who won our NCAA pool. And also
actually my pick for the Masters this week. So
also want to give big shout out to North Carolina and Roy Williams, who coached in his 100th tournament game, won that game for the national title. You couldn't write it better than that.
That's his third one. That's his third title.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When you're talking about North Carolina, how hard is it to recruit? Hang up a couple of Michael Jordan posters and you're done. Hey.
I mean, you got the prestige. The prestige in North Carolina is going to overpower anything that you could want to go to play basketball. I mean, it's just stupid. Everybody wants to go to Chapel Hill.
Yeah, it's Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky are the top 3 spots. Everybody else is in second place after that.
Did you watch any of that game last night?
I was able to catch a little bit of it. I had shitty antenna reception here in Columbus, Ohio. As a lot of you know, it was storming and it started to cut out on me.
It was so brutal to watch. The refs needed to swallow the whistle and they didn't. And it was fucking terrible. It was the worst officiating game of the year. They were both in the double bonus with 8 minutes left to play.
Yeah, I guess you got to stay consistent at that point if you're talking about the refs. You can't, halfway through a game start calling it differently, because then people are going to be like, well, they lost the game for us because they started calling it loose at this point. So, I mean, you can't really change how you do it halfway through.
I mean, they were consistent. Each team got the same amount of calls against them. I think there were like 44, 47 fouls in the game. It was like 24 apiece or something stupid like that. But like, that's a lot in a 40-minute game. You're talking every 30 seconds there's a whistle being blown. There's just no consistency. I mean, there's no flow in the game. It's just so hard to watch. I've just felt sorry for the players who go out there and you can't get into a rhythm because every 25 seconds there's a foul call.
Yeah, it makes it tough. And you hate to see that in a championship of all things. I mean, if that happens in any other game, you kind of write it off. But when you get to the tournament, and even more so to the championship, you don't want to see the refs have a big effect on the game.
And North Carolina they're not very a physical team. I mean, they're an up and down the court type of a ball club. But when you got Gonzaga's got a lot of size. I mean, Karnowski was 7'1", I think, and Zach Collins, that freshman for Gonzaga. I mean, he's another great bruiser. And when you're calling that many ticky-tack fouls, it hurts. I mean, you got to play timid at that point. And I think Zach Collins ended up fouling out with like 6 minutes left in the game. And it's just hard when a playmaker of that caliber is fouling out that early to have a good national title game. I mean, the game turned out really well. I mean, the game was competitive all the way through the game. North Carolina ended up winning in the last 30 seconds of the game. But other than that, it was back and forth. So, I mean, for viewership, it was still good, but the pace of play just sucked. Because every 30 seconds there's being a whistle called.
Well, and, a big shout out as well to Mark Few. I mean, that guy has taken a program that no one has ever heard of since 1999, and he's taken it to a powerhouse of a program. Granted, they're in a small conference, and they are pretty much guaranteed to make the tournament every year because the rest of their conference is garbage. But, I mean, he's showing right there in that championship game that he can compete with the best.
Yeah, if he doesn't get a contract extension, there's a problem. I mean, they should sign him forever.
If he
because he's
doesn't,
that good.
if he doesn't get a contract extension, he's going to get a much bigger payday elsewhere.
Yeah.
Gonzaga can't afford to pay him what a big school could.
Yeah, Florida, Kentucky, Texas, somewhere along there.
Yeah.
USC. USC, I think, would be a great stop for him.
I'm surprised he hasn't gotten snatched up before this. There's been plenty of openings at big time schools. Indiana just got opened, a little bit of a lead in here, but Georgetown's job just got filled by Pat Ewing. Georgetown hasn't been where they should be for the past, we'll say better part of a decade, but they're still a program when you think college basketball. They're in that second line below the Kentuckys, Dukes, and North Carolinas of the world.
Who do you think is the top paid coach in college basketball?
I mean, the dumb answer would be Coach K.
He's pretty close. Coach K is 3 at just over $5 million. Rick Pitino's number 1. Guess where Mark Few is? He's at 30.
Yeah, he's at a small school. Does Gonzaga even have a football program?
That I don't know.
I don't know. Other than men's and women's basketball, I've never heard them mentioned anywhere else. So, they're not, even if they do have a football program, they probably lose money on it. So, they don't have a lot of money to pay a coach. The only sports there that are making money is probably men's basketball.
Absolutely. And, you know that Mark Few deserves more than top 30 in salary. When Gregg Marshall from Wichita State is making double what he is.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know Wichita State's been coming up the ranks. They've been solid in basketball lately. But
one of the most fun teams to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're in the Missouri Valley Conference. That's a nothing conference, just like Gonzaga. You can't tell me that Mark Few isn't better than Marshall is. But Gregg Marshall is the 8th best paid coach in total salary in college basketball at Wichita State.
Speaking of college coaches, we did have a little coaching change like we hinted to there at Georgetown recently. Pat Ewing comes in, and he's going to take over that team, former Georgetown graduate there. Yeah,
he played under, Thompson there. So, it's a big name. That's a big draw, but do you think he can coach?
It's always hard to tell. You never know for sure when, former players go to be coaches. I know he's been an assistant at a few different places, and, he's worked under some people. So, he's probably learned, and you can't doubt that he knows the game, but I don't know. We've all seen a lot of them fail.
Jason Kidd, prime example. I know he jumped straight to the NBA, but is there a difference between college and NBA? You're dealing with the prima donnas of coaching, so that's always difficult. But I'm sure Patrick Ewing, a lot of those kids now coming up, look at the legacy that Patrick Ewing had, and I'm sure they respect the guy.
Yeah, but I don't know that that's. I don't think that's helping you pull people away from the number ones, the Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina. That's going to help you get back at those, second level guys that you should have already been getting, and maybe they weren't at this point. But
20, 25 years ago, Georgetown was one of those powerhouse programs themselves.
Oh, absolutely. And, you look at Pat Ewing as being one of those players that made them a powerhouse.
Yeah, Alonzo Mourning and him, both. I think they were like 2 classes apart. I think they were like 4 or 5 years apart. They never actually played together. But, when you're talking those 2 caliber centers, you're talking big program right there.
Definitely. And I think, maybe he can bring them back. Maybe he can't. But, talking about the difference between NBA and college, I still always say at the NBA level, you're managing egos more than you're actually coaching anything. you look at, and I'm going to catch hell for this once again, but Michael Jordan didn't need Phil Jackson to coach him. Kobe Bryant didn't need Phil Jackson to coach him. Shaq sure as shit didn't need Phil Jackson to coach him. He had amazing players. He managed egos extremely well, and he deserves credit for that. Don't get me wrong, but to call him a great coach, I don't know that he's a great coach. He's a great ego manager. I just don't think at the NBA level, is Tyronn Lue a great coach?
No.
Was Eric Spoelstra a great coach? Hell no. But
you know who was a good coach?
LeBron James.
Eric Snow.
Yeah, I mean, Eric Snow did coach in Mike Brown's place for however many years he was in Cleveland. That was a well-known fact. But I just think at the NBA level, it's more about you're not really coaching. You're managing egos. At the college level, yeah, there's still some of that ego management, especially at the bigger programs, because you have those guys that are one and dones. They don't really give a shit about the school legacy. They don't give a shit about college. They don't care about all of that. All they care about is their paycheck. But
is that what makes college football better than college basketball?
Well, yeah. I mean, you just have a better pool. You have more players, therefore you have more four-year players, therefore you have more people that actually give a shit about the program. They give a shit about the school. It's more about pride for, playing the college game than it is a stepping stone to the next level. Opening day, another big thing that happened this past week. Opening day has come. So, I mean, opening day in baseball, it's a huge thing. Do you think it got overshadowed a little this year? I feel like it got overshadowed because we were like right at the edge of the tournament, like the same days that opening day was happening. Well, the second day of opening day, you had the championship game the same day. And who put together that scheduling nightmare?
Not a good thing. But no, I don't think it got overshadowed. I mean, people are ready for baseball. Cities closed down for opening day of baseball. There's a parade every year in Cincinnati that runs through downtown. It basically shuts down the city for the Reds, and the Reds are
There's
terrible.
not much to shut down in Cincinnati. What are you doing, shutting down the Bengals prison?
But I mean, overall, I mean, it's a big thing for many cities. I mean, Boston, it's a huge event. St. Louis, it's a big event every year. I mean, a lot of those sports towns love their baseball, and opening day is a big deal.
I have to say, this was the first year ever that I was I was genuinely excited for it. I'm a pretty passive baseball fan, but I have a
Let's
team.
be honest, you're good when you're a baseball fan when the Indians are good.
I am a bandwagon fan. I'm a bandwagon baseball fan. I'm always an Indians fan. I just don't pay attention unless they're, in the playoffs. But, having a team that a lot of analysts are calling the best in baseball this year, that's making me wake up and pay attention. And I have to say, I was pretty pissed off that, one, I had to choose between the national title game and watching the Tribe. And when I tried to, make that choice and go watch the Tribe, my TV decided to say, fuck you.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and it's not a very far limb, but I think Cleveland and the Cubs are going to rematch in the World Series again this year. Those teams are just so stacked.
I would say, barring major injury to either team, yeah, I have to agree with that. They are both amazing teams. Hey, a lot of people are calling the Tribe the best team in the MLB, and I love to hear that as a Cleveland fan. But if I look at it personally, even I have to say I put the Cubs a little bit of an edge there. You can say that World Series last year, Cleveland was up 3-1, and if Cleveland wasn't injured, and if, I hate the ifs. You can throw all that shit out the door. The Cubs have won it, and that's all that matters. And to me, right now, until Cleveland beats them, the Cubs are better.
The Cubs are just so young and just so talented, and just at every position. I mean, you look and they have Baez, they got Chris Bryant. They got amazing pitching with Lester and Arrieta. I mean, they have everything they need to make another run at the title. And barring injuries, I don't see anybody in the NL gonna. I mean, yes, the Nationals have the talent. They should win, but every year they piss it away because their team is not run very well, and they have a bunch of prima donnas on their team, and they self-destruct. So, I mean, I think the Cubs with Joe Madden, I think he was the perfect hire for him. He's a
Definitely.
player coach, and he lets them have fun, and that's part of the big thing in baseball. When you're playing 160 games in a season, you got to have fun, or else you're just going to get worn out.
So let's get into the NBA a little. We're looking at a different East standings right now. Boston is in first, knocking Cleveland down to the 2 spot in the playoffs right now.
I think it's only like a half a game, but that's still, I mean, it's still big news. So like a week ago, they were 3.5 out, and Cleveland started self-destructing. So, I mean, what did you think about that? Is that something of concern, or is that just, let's get to the playoffs and we'll just dismantle everybody?
Well, I expressed my concern to you about a week and a half ago that I'm worried about this Cavs team. Their defensive prowess is just non-existent. They
Tristan
had
Thompson is garbage, hot garbage.
Tristan Thompson is not garbage. Tristan Thompson hasn't been playing 45 minutes a game, and he's tired. Nobody else in the league is playing as many minutes at his, size that he is. He's asked to do way too much because he's the only defensive big the team has. If Andrew Bogut could have stayed healthy for 2 minutes at least, then maybe Tristan would have a little fresher legs.
I shouldn't have got rid of Verjao.
Apparently, I think he's still available. Like, somebody needs to take a charge.
I mean, it's just I don't know what's missing. What's missing on the team? Is it just bad coaching? Is it Tyronn Lue? Is it?
I don't know how much you can put the downslide or the success on Tyronn Lue. Like, LeBron coaches that team. I think that's pretty well known throughout the league. Like, what LeBron wants happens on that team. That's why Tyronn Lue's in the position he's in.
What is Tyronn Lue actually doing? Like, I could arguably say that anybody could go coach the Cavs right now.
I mean, anybody could have coached the Heat when they had the big three. Like, you can't make an argument against that. Eric Spoelstra coached that team. Yeah, right.
I'm sorry. Right now, currently, Boston and Cleveland are tied for 1 and 2.
But still, I mean, the big story isn't necessarily the seeding. It's the fact that the Cavs have, last I looked, they were on an 8-10 game slide.
Yeah, they're 5-5 in their last 10, so not good. When you're talking about that caliber of a team, where they're 50-27, you're still good. But, like, are they falling apart?
It all kind of comes down to defense, and they just don't have it right now. They signed, what was his name? It was Larry Johnson or something like that. He'd been out of the league for like 3 years, and nobody else wanted to sign him, but he's 7
Larry
foot.
Sanders?
Larry Sanders, thank you, Larry Sanders. Yeah. He'd been out of the league for like 3 years. Has
he played yet?
I don't think so. Last I heard, they had him in D-League games trying to get him ready, which isn't a very positive thing. We'll see. Once playoffs roll around, everybody plays a little differently. At least the top level teams play a lot differently. Even if you get Larry Sanders come playoff time, is he even gonna play?
A couple minutes here and there.
Yeah, I mean, you're normally down to about 8-man rotation at that point anyway. So I don't really see the signing as significant. What they need, I don't know. But are they a championship level team right now? In my eyes, no.
Which is a shame because they have all the talent in the world.
They do. It's just, you have all the talent, offensive talent in the world.
Was Kyle Korver a good pickup?
Again, offensively, yes. Kyle Korver's never been known for his defense. He's that Bruce Bowen that's going to stand in the corner and shoot a three.
He's very slow.
Yes.
He's got bad knees.
Yeah. Well, he's also been in the league for like 16 years.
Are him and Mike Miller the same person?
I would say in his prime, Mike Miller was a little more athletic. But I don't know. Maybe that's just the tattoos.
Is that like a Jeg sticker?
Yeah, the Jeg sticker that gives you 5 extra horsepower.
How about Russell Westbrook, man? 40 triple doubles.
Talk to me when you have 41.
Just stupid.
Make it half the season or shut the fuck up.
The season's not over yet. Sam.
Exactly. When he has 41, I'll give him credit. And he'll have tied the record. Right now, you're one shy of the record. Until you at least tie a record, shut the hell up.
40 triple doubles. Do you know how many people do that?
Apparently, there's one that's done 41.
You're a dick. That's what it comes down to. Not giving props. Does he deserve the MVP?
No.
Why?
Because he's a douche.
Okay, Mark Cuban.
Yeah, I mean, he truthfully is a douche. You couldn't keep Kevin Durant on your team. You were so much of a douche that the nicest person in the NBA and Kevin Durant didn't want to stay with you and win titles.
Is that really? I mean, do you really think he's that a douche in person? I mean, is that him?
If you're that much of a douche on the court, you're a douche in person.
Yeah, I would have. Okay, yeah.
I mean, he's trying to pick fights on the court. Like, it's not just once. Like, he's trying to pick fights on the court a lot. And as a point guard, as the leader of your team, you're not the person to pick fights on the court. Let the Ben Wallaces of the world pick the fights on the court. The guy that's not that important, he's there to rebound. He's not going to score you a lot of points. Let them do that.
But I mean, you got to stick up for your team. At the end of the day, you got to have that. You got to have that toughness that you're not going to just go in the paint, get banged up by bigs, and just cower down.
You're the leader of the team. You have to be the bigger man and walk away. That's why every team needs to keep a fouler on their team. That guy's sole purpose is just to beat the hell out of everybody. You should know that, Bill Laimbeer.
He was so good at it, but he was a star. I mean, or a starter. He wasn't a star, I guess, but he was a starter.
No. This person can be a starter, but their only purpose is to foul people and foul them hard. You see it in baseball. When a pitcher hits a batter, an important batter, guess what happens the next time up? The next pitcher hits a batter.
Yeah.
You got to have that mentality. You have to have one player that's there to get even.
Yeah, but Russell Westbrook has to be able to get in the paint as well. And what I think is weird is, like, I've heard that from a lot of, like, the center and power forward, Enes Kanter and Krzyzewski. I don't fucking know. I'll just make a fucking name at this point. But they're like, when Russell Westbrook goes up for a rebound, they'll just let him have it. So, I mean, they're kind of like pad statting at this point.
Well, yeah, they're not a good team.
So, I mean, is 41 impressive in your opinion when they're just kind of letting him get triple doubles just because?
Less so, but 41, like, all right, so the last 6 were a little padded. You still got, if he gets to, 42, you still got 36 of them on your own.
I mean, he's still averaging a triple-double for the season.
Yeah, and he's still a douche.
That's goddamn impressive. There are tons of douches out there. LeBron James is a douche. If he has 41 triple-doubles, I would fucking say that's fucking impressive.
You think he's a douche because he plays for the Cavs.
No, he's a douche for what he did to Cleveland, period.
Well, I agree with that, but he's not a douche. He's actually, like, a good person. He's, for a person that only, like, doesn't have a college education at all, he's also a very smart person. He's very smart with his money. You never see him out, like, tearing shit up and getting in trouble. And
what does Westbrook do?
I'm not saying Russell Westbrook is going out and being Johnny Manziel or anything, but I'm just saying, for a guy like LeBron James that at 18 years old was handed tens of millions of dollars, you gotta give him credit that he's just not a complete piece of shit.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. I wouldn't have guessed it coming out of high school when he handed his mom a Hummer.
Oh, if you would have handed me tens of millions of dollars when I was 18 years old, I'd be dead.
Sam would have blown so much coke, it would have been ridiculous.
I would have been in Vegas, and I might have lasted a week. Like, I would have been Lamar Odom.
Oh, poor Lamar.
But, and I do give credit to Russell Westbrook. As big as a douche he is, 40 triple-doubles, that is impressive. He's not my MVP.
Is it James Harden?
Right now, I'd have to say James Harden, yes. And that's simply because you gotta be a better team.
So you have to have 50 wins in order to win MVP, in your opinion?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's still 32 losses. 32 losses. That's not that good of an average. That's not asking that much.
Oklahoma City is 10 games over 500. They're not terrible.
They're 10 games over 500. You're taking this off of NBA standards. Take this off of sports standards as a whole. Take out the fact that way too many teams in the NBA make the playoffs and look at it from the standard of an actual win percentage. That is not good.
566. They're ranked 6th in the East or in the West.
So they should just barely make the playoffs if they do?
If they win out, they're at 50 wins.
Okay. Are they going to win out? Based on that win percentage? No.
Probably not.
No. 50 wins is not asking too much for it to be a qualifier for the MVP. Now, can you blame him for the shitty team that he's on? No. But can you a little bit? Because you ran off the nicest guy in the NBA? Yeah, I think you can.
Do you know how many teams are going to actually get to 50 wins this year?
Probably not very many.
7 teams in the NBA are probably going to hit 50 wins.
And how many players in the NBA, even if you add in Russell Westbrook, do you think should even be considered in a given year for an MVP?
The only 2 MVPs that I could see right now are LeBron and James Harden.
Yeah, there might be 5 players max. That
Curry didn't have that good of a year this year. No. Is it because of Kevin Durant? Maybe, but he didn't put up.
I'm not even necessarily talking about this year. I just mean on average. Like, maybe 5 players in the NBA that are MVP worthy?
Yeah.
If you just look at the players in the NBA right now, and you pick out people that you think could win next year, win an MVP, possibly, what do you come up with? Maybe 5 players?
Yeah, the list is under 10 for sure.
Oh, yeah. So, it's not like it's asking that much for that person out of those 5 players. The Raiders are moving to Las Vegas. Thoughts?
I think it's a good thing. I think I want to go to Vegas more. I think there's a lot more to... other than gambling, which I'm going to be broke after the first day if I go to Vegas anyway. Hey, I can hit up a fucking Raiders game now. Yeah. They got football and they got hockey now. That's big news for Las Vegas.
Yeah, and, there's been a lot of talk about them getting an NBA team as well. They wanted a baseball team, but I don't think the MLB will ever put a team there. I hate the move. Obviously, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so moving teams hits a bit of a sore spot for me. But the fact that it was the Raiders bothers me even more. That team is finally on the upswing. That Oakland community has supported that team for so long. They were in Oakland, then they moved to LA, then they moved back to Oakland, and then they're moving to Las Vegas.
Are they gonna have enough
fuck the Davis support family? That's another problem with Las Vegas to me. It's not a, don't get me wrong, it's a well-populated city, but it's a vacation town.
Majority of it is it's a tourist town.
And when we talked a little bit about the 30 for 30 on Penny Hardaway, they talked about that a little bit with Orlando. They weren't sure if a team could survive there because it's a tourist town. And I think it can survive because you have Vegas is a tourism year-round town. So you're not, it's not limited to, people are just going there in the summer, people are just going there in the winter. People go to Vegas at,
Oh, you're right.
at
Yep.
any time of the year. So I don't think you'll have any problem selling it out at any given time. But I don't think you're ever going to have
But
the.
is it going to be like almost like a neutral game site for any team that goes there? Because the majority, like, say I'm a Green Bay fan. Hey, Green Bay is out in Vegas. Let's schedule a trip out to Vegas during that weekend.
Yeah, I
Pack
mean,
the fucking town or pack the stadium with just Green Bay fans for that week.
heck yeah. I mean, I think you'll see a good bit of that. I think you're right. I think it'll be not necessarily a neutral field, but I think it's going to be almost similar to the games that are played over in London. Like, it's just going to be fans of a bunch of different teams that are just in Vegas at that time. And hey, I'll check out a Raider game while I'm here.
If I was in Vegas and there happened to be a football game, an NFL game, two teams that I didn't even care about, fuck, I'd go.
Hell yeah, and I could bet on it then.
Yeah, even more reason. And do you think
Legally.
that'll have a negative effect?
I think that's been the worry of all the major sports leagues when they go to Vegas is the fact that you have legalized gambling there. And you never know. Gambling has been an issue in major sports in the past. You and I are both from Ohio. We know Pete Rose very well.
NBA not too long ago. What
Yeah.
was his name? Doherty or something stupid like that? Got caught being a ref and fucking gambling on NBA games.
So there's that risk, but there's that risk anywhere. I don't think that the risk is necessarily any increased by it being in Vegas. Maybe there's still that old mob element that may get involved in it, but the NFL did a pretty good job. That they were very diligent about none of the investors are allowed to be investors in casinos. So, which is surprising because I didn't know that there were any other investors in Las Vegas other than those that own casinos. But, I think the NFL did a good job trying to head off any gambling issues that might be there.
Do you think they're going to get an NBA team here within the next, let's say, 10 years? Do you think Milwaukee moves out there?
Don't necessarily take this the wrong way, but the NBA has always made more sense in Vegas than any other sport to me because it's always been a little more flashy and it just made more sense for Vegas than I think necessarily football or definitely hockey did. It just seems like the Vegas sport. Because it's also an indoor sport. Can you imagine doing two-a-days in Vegas in the summer?
No. But, I mean, you're having it other places, and I'm sure they're going to play in a dome, right?
I would imagine, yeah. I don't know why you would build anything other than a dome at this point.
I mean, it's going to host a Super Bowl within the next, 10 years, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. It'll be a huge new stadium. They'll probably
Can you
try
imagine that Super Bowl? That would be awesome to go to just because of sports betting.
Good Lord, the prop bets.
Oh my god.
But no, I truly hate the move. I feel bad for the entire city of Oakland.
Anytime a team moves, you feel bad for that community. I mean, you lived it with the Browns, so
Yeah.
I mean, you know exactly how they felt more than anybody else.
Yeah, and I've always had a little bit of disdain for the Davis family that own the Raiders.
But I mean,
and
were
that's
you
just
this
increased
salty?
just a little
Were you
more.
Were you this salty when the Rams moved?
Not as much. The Rams and the Chargers bother me more from the standpoint that LA has proven in the past that they do not support an NFL team, and now they have two. Like, why? They also have two basketball teams. One of them they support, one of them no one shows up.
Well, they support when they're good. Nobody supported the Clippers when they sucked.
Well, they support them now that they're okay. I mean, when were the Clippers good before the past 3 years?
Never.
Yeah, it is an awful sports town. Again, it's a city that no one's from LA. It's a town that a bunch of people moved to.
Yeah, it's like Tampa being down here for me. Nobody's a Rays fan.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
no
really,
one's from there.
Nobody's from here.
There are more people in the Tampa area from Ohio than just about anywhere else in the world.
I work with about I ask this question. Where are you from? That's my opening question to anybody I meet, and it's somewhere up north, like because it's not from there. Nobody's from Florida.
Yeah. And that's my big issue with the LA teams is they didn't support the Raiders when they were there before. So why did they get two teams now? And it all comes down to money. I get that. But it doesn't piss me off any less. Now, did I feel as bad for the city of St. Louis and the city of San Diego as I do Oakland? No. And can I explain that? No.
When I think of Raiders fans, I think of hardcore fans, though. That's
yeah,
what I think of with.
I liken them to the Browns fans. I liken them to the Green Bay fans, the Bills fans that show up to games, at least for the three teams I mentioned, show up to games in the absolute shittiest weather possible and still sell out every week.
Yeah, Raiders fans, you just think of hardcore fans. You think of the tough grit. Like you watch them and you see them in their Raider gear and they're just decked out. I mean, not to say that other teams don't do it, but when I think of fans, I think of Raider fans too.
You think of the Black Hole.
Yeah, the Black Hole.
Speaking of the Black Hole, there's already a new sort of club that is allowed only in the state of Nevada that is opening called the Black Hole.
Is it a brothel?
I'll let you take a guess.
Yeah.
And, the players of the Raiders, they've already come out and said, the owner that's, building this place, that Raiders players will get a 50% discount on all services. So
all services. I like how that is. They're not talking about alcoholic beverages, are they?
No, I don't think they are. But I think you can take a bet on who's about to sign with the Raiders.
I have no idea. Who are you going to say? Johnny Manziel.
Here's Johnny.
Yes.
He's going to do everything he can to get on that team.
Oh, yeah. Gronk is going to sign there. Are you kidding me?
It's going to be a huge draw. Can you use that as a bargaining chip? Like, is that a new thing to, like, sign with the Raiders?
STD slot wheel. Here we go.
50% off to the millionaires that don't need 15% off, but
that don't need hookers. Period.
Yeah. Well, apparently Lamar Odom did, so I mean we can't put it past anyone.
They still don't need hookers. I'm not saying anybody needs hookers, but those athletes can walk into any bar and not have a problem picking up some girl there for free.
Tell that to Ben Roethlisberger.
Touche. Was he proven innocent? What happened with that scandal?
Oh, she was paid off.
Of course.
Like the girl before her at the hotel.
It never happened.
Yeah, again, you can get away with anything with enough money.
Yeah.
Ask Ray Lewis.
Ben Roethlisberger didn't even need a fall guy.
No, he just needed millions of dollars.
Yeah, a paycheck or a checkbook.
Golf is on the table this week. The Masters.
It's Masters week.
Yeah, biggest week in golf all year. You can talk U.S. Open and things like that, but the Masters is the real kickoff of the golf season. And the one name that is yet again absent has pulled out: Tiger Woods.
Tiger Woods has pulled out many of times.
Yes, he has. Thank God for that. Is he done?
Yes. I said when he left the first time that he was done. He was never going to win a major. I always thought he was just done. His mind's not in the game, and I don't think he cares anymore.
Should he just hang it up? Wait for the senior tour? Like, is that?
I think he's too competitive. I mean, there's that grind that wants to win. He wants to break every record. He wants to be known as the best. But then there's some part of me that also says that he just doesn't have it anymore.
I mean, let's be honest. Golf is, always will be at its best when Tiger is at the top. Golf golf needs to thank their lucky stars for Tiger Woods.
He brought golf back to reality.
Back. He brought it to the mainstream. No, yeah, you can go back to when Nicklaus was good. You can go back to that, back to the greats, but Tiger brought it to a completely different level of popularity.
He brought it to this generation, I'll say that.
Oh, definitely. You have people of our age and younger that would have never picked up a club if it wasn't for Tiger Woods.
Golf is at its best now because of Tiger Woods. Yes, I will 100% agree with that. The golfers that we have today in the PGA Tour is because of Tiger Woods.
Yes. I mean, he did so much for the game as far as popularity is concerned. And that can't be denied. And golf is still at its most watchable, even when he's out there not as the Tiger that we all know. Because he's still, I don't care, you can throw out as many names as you want. He's still the biggest draw in golf.
Oh, for sure. There's nobody that's even comparable. I mean, you can't even come up. I could say 7 names, and they're not even adding up to what Tiger draws when the game's watched. I mean,
I looked up the standings at the end of last year, and yeah, I knew a few names, but there's nobody that I was like, oh yeah, that guy. There's.
I mean, you got Phil. Everyone knows Phil.
Yeah, but Phil was only Phil because he was the second best to Tiger.
Yeah.
The random person, the person off the street, you ask them to name 3 golfers, they're going to stop at Tiger Woods.
Yep. I 100%. I've actually had that talk with my mother before.
Yeah.
She knows nothing about sports. But when I say name a golfer, she can come up with Tiger Woods.
And I've always thought this. Does he need to go back to fucking around? Will that fix it?
Being a degenerate?
Yeah. I mean, he was good when he was a shitty person.
When nobody knew what he was doing on the side?
And now it doesn't matter what he's doing on the side because you're not married anymore.
I mean, apparently it didn't matter when he was married.
No. Like, I'm just saying, like, who cares now? Like, maybe that'll fix it.
I think age caught up to him. I mean, he was such a gym guru that I think his body just started giving out on him.
See, I think it's all in his head. I 100% think it is all in his head. He has tried to change too much with his swing to adapt to this and adapt to that. And I think he has fucked himself up. I think it's all in his head. He needs to just go back to beating the shit out of the ball, recovering like the great he is, and taking it from there.
That's why he was so good. He never hit the fairway.
No.
But he could get out of any jam and still make birdie and par. And that's what made Tiger Tiger.
Yeah, he beat the dick off the ball, recovered where he had to, and then putted well.
Yeah.
And now he doesn't do any of those things.
I mean, he still hits the ball off the tee like he did before. Way left, way right. He just can't recover now.
Yeah, when you start to lose that recovery, your 400-yard drive out to the left rough doesn't really help you all that much. On behalf of Pete and myself, thanks for listening. As always, if you like what you heard, like, comment, share our shit on your various social media pages, and if you didn't, well, go fuck yourself. Hey, Johnny, line 'em up!